Hello, everyone. We are extremely happy to have you here in our live event from our Launch and Learn. Today, our topic is blockchain and cryptocurrency. Our speaker is Jesus Steer, a rockstar developer here in Yacht City. So let's start with our Launch and Learn.
Hello, guys. Thank you for attending to this Launch and Learn. Today's topic is blockchain beyond cryptocurrency. And the reason I suggested this topic is because these days there is a lot of information, news, a lot of hype on digital asset investment like Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance, also NFTs. And this phenomena can eclipse some of the interesting use of blockchains that could be very disruptive. I think it is a good idea to check what is happening on other industries. So this presentation, I will give you an introduction on blockchain. Then we will talk about the current state of the technology, also some of the use cases in multiple industries. And finally, I will share some code of my final job as blockchain developer on the university. So I hope you can understand how a decentralized application is built and what are the tools that you need to use to create one. So let's begin. First, blockchain is a chain of blocks of data stored on multiple computers distributed over a vast geographical region. It is a distributed ledger that maintains a copy of all digital assets. The important here is to understand that blockchain is a network, a peer-to-peer network. That means that all the computers don't need to be visible to the entire network, just connect to some of the computer, and in some way they are all connected. But all of them have an entire copy of the ledger, that is the data of the blockchain. So some of the main characteristics of blockchain are transparency, immutability, enhanced security, enable faster settlements, and cannot be corrupted. So let's talk a little about the history of blockchain. The first blockchain was launched in 1991. Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta worked on the first project. It was like a kind of way to record a timestamp in a distributed database, distributed ledger. So there will no way anyone can tamper with this data. So after that, in 2008, someone with the pseudonym of Satoshi Nakamoto released the Bitcoin, the project Bitcoin. After that, in 2015, Ethereum was launched. The idea of Ethereum, it is not just a blockchain. It is more a blockchain-based platform that allows you to create smart contract, decentralized application, and tokens, and more. Also, for the same time, the Linux Foundation launched Hyperlayer. Hyperlayer is a different approach because it is not to create public networks like blockchain or Ethereum, but it creates some permissioned private blockchain networks that helps to create custom solution for different industries. So it is a really interesting project because it is very modular and you can use those blocks to create a blockchain that do some specific features. So the face you are seeing here in this picture is Dorian Nakamoto. He's not the creator of blockchain. He's not Satoshi. But at the beginning, everyone thinks that he was the creator. And it was quite funny fact because all the press was like knocking his door one day. And it was like, who is all these people? I want to share you a quick video about it. So this guy gets famous from one day, just like he wake up and everyone was like following him like for weeks. So it is quite funny. Ah, creo que I think I need to do something. Sorry. Okay, we're back. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about the cyberpunk movement. It happened on the 80s. Cyberpunk is a subgenre of sci-fi, science fiction. That the idea behind cyberpunk, it was create a dystopic future between low life and high technology. So it is quite interesting because in this, I mean, it was people with a lot of vision imagine the future, and in this, the idea was like there was companies controlling all the information, so people look for alternative way to keep their privacy. So there was like a lot of new advancing technology, also a currency that was complete digital. Here, for example, this is a document inspired by this movement. This is the Crypto Anarchist Manifesto written by Timothy C. May in 1988. So to sum up, it defends the freedom of expression, access to information, and privacy as basic elements that should be protected and promoted by technology and cryptography. I think probably many of you recognize these visual styles, but probably no one of us watched this movie on cinema, or just few of us, because it was like 1982. But this movie was also influenced by this movement. So what's the role of cryptography in all of this? First, I want to explain a little bit about cryptography. This is like a science that studies the multiple ways to encrypt a message and protect it from what they call adversaries. This technology or these methods was used long time ago for mainly for diplomatics and military to protect message from the enemies. And for example, I give you here 3 examples. The first one is kind of a wood stick. It was used for Spartans. And the idea here is the shape of this stick allow us to enroll a message and to like align some letters and make us capable to read the message. The second one is a cipher wheel. As you see here, there is a key, it's a number. So you can align the letters, moving the inner circle. So the idea is to create an easy way to translate some message. It looks like a kid games, I know, but it was being used in some wars, like somewhere between United States and Mexico. So this device was quite useful in the past. And the last one is Enigma. It is a more sophisticated device created by Germans on the Second World War. And the idea of this device is to generate a different encryption method for every day. So it was easy to set up. There is like 3 rotors here in this area. Here. The idea was change this rotor like every single day, so there was no way that the allies can decode the message. So as you can see here, there is like a keyboard, kind of keyboard, and it has like a lot of lights, few lights that it was able to press one key and give the translation of this message. So to give you some examples of cryptography algorithms that are being used today. For example, Diffie-Hellman. This is important because it is the first one that separates public and private key. It allows the user, the owner of the key, to share the public key over a public channel, and anyone can get the key, but the key just use it to encrypt the message. But there was no way to decrypt the message with this key. The owner, it has the private key, and he was able to do it. So this is a more common algorithm, the RSA. This algorithm is used for example, on SSH communication. It's also used on GitHub to post our key to make able to use some repositories. And the last one is Merkle trees. Merkle trees is important because this is the algorithm used to build the blocks on blockchain. There is a recommendation of this movie, The Imitation Game. It's really nice movie. It talks about cryptography, and it tells the story of Alan Turing. He was a brilliant mathematician that was able to decrypt the Enigma, this device here. At this time, the government was aware about the power of cryptography, and they was using it to communicate in the Second World War. They was sending message over the open radio network. Sorry, open radio. Those messages was encrypted, but no one was able to decrypt because you need the machine. So what Alan Turing built here is a really big machine. This could be considered the first computer that what it does is iterate over all the possibilities that could be considered by the machine until it solves the code. As you can see here, those circles acts like some kind of loops, like for or while loops in our code, current code. And this is an after and before, because there is two kind of scripts in programming. There is non-Turing complete and Turing complete. What is Turing complete? Turing complete is a code that can call itself, like can make cycles. So it was the creator of this concept, and they use his last name to call it. This is a really good movie, not just because you can learn about cryptography and use on this time, but also you can get into the shoes of Alan Turing, that is a genius. So I highly recommend you to watch this movie. Okay, this is a really important concept on blockchain. Let's talk about decentralization. In blockchain, decentralization refers to a transfer of control and decision-making from a centralized entity, individual, or organization to a distributed network. The important here is to understand that the goal is to remove the need of trusted intermediaries. I mean, when you hear about decentralization, you could think, okay, probably the information is decentralized because the network. But this is also true. But something more important is the application of this decentralization. For example, in a transfer, in a bank transfer, we need a bank to transfer for one party to the other to make a money transfer. But what is proposed by blockchain is there is no need for a third party. If you create a program that is trustable, so you can share you can do this task without anyone in between. And it is important also to understand the concept of smart contracts. Smart contract is a self-executing quotes contract. Why in quotes? I will explain in detail next. With the term of agreement between buyer and seller being directly written into line of code. It should not need, there is no need to be buyer and seller, but two parties. The idea here is smart contracts are not exactly contract. As it says here, smart contracts are neither smart nor are they contract. Why they are not contract? Because they don't have any legal validity on the real world. So they are just scripts. They are just condition that if the condition is fulfilled, it will execute some pre-programmed scripts. So I want to share this tweet of Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, as he say, to be clear, at this point, I quite regret adopting the term smart contract. I should have called them something more boring and technical, perhaps something like persistent scripts. Okay, and finally, I want to talk about tokens. What are tokens? Token is not a new concept. For example, I have here 3 images. We probably use these tokens on a video game machine. We use this kind of coins. On a tabletop game, we use this kind of tokens. And also on casino. This token, for example, represents some money or a value. So depending on the use of the blockchain, you have many kind of tokens that you can implement on blockchain. For example, platform tokens, they are used to consume or use a platform. For example, these coins could be an example of a platform token because you need it to use the video game machine. Security tokens are representation or it is a way to back off-chain assets. For example, a property like on real estate, or for example, something like a car could be represented by a token. Here, this token used on casino is a representation of real value, so it could be considered like a security token. Just to give some examples, transactional tokens are used to transact or to transfer value, and it could be also considered as a unit of value. For example, Bitcoin. If you want to send some money to someone, so you can use a transactional token. Utility tokens are used in a protocol to use features of this protocol. And also governance tokens. Governance are used to vote because in decentralized protocols, it is important to make decision because those protocols are in continuously evolution. So as the network, there is no centralized entity that controls all the protocols. So the network have to make the choices. All the stakeholders of governance tokens have the possibility to debate and vote about what is the future of this protocol. So let's talk now about the current state of the blockchain technology. This graphic shows the hype cycle of emerging technologies in 2018. Here in this axis, you have the expectation, and in the x-axis, you have the time. So there is 5 phases that a project will experiment in his cycle. So first is the innovation trigger. The idea is when the project is starting, there is a lot of information by the press and the media, and there is a lot of people that is like thinking that the project will fix a lot of problems. Then they think it will be a really, really good idea. So the project get into a state of peak of inflated expectation. What is happening here is the project don't evolve quick enough. So people that are using this project get like bored about it because it is not going too fast. So they stop paying attention to it. So it enters into true of disillusionment. So people forget about the project, but companies and researchers continue working on it and finding new ways to use this technology until it get into slope of enlightenment. It start like developing and creating new features until it gets to the plateau of productivity when these projects are demonstrated that have benefits and it start being used to solve problems of the real life. So blockchain is here at this point in 2018, At this point, it was just after the crash of Bitcoin in 2018. The idea of blockchain was still interesting, but people wasn't interested on cryptocurrencies anymore. To give you a detailed graphic for the blockchain business, this is the same year, but for the blockchain business, blockchain is in the same place. But as you can see here, cryptocurrencies are at the bottom. Like there was of people losing money and it started losing interest. But initial coin offering was at the top. People was investing in other ways of it was in some way related to blockchain because it was projects. So it is like the a way to crowdfunding to get some funds to develop a project. So for the next year, okay, it is important to see that here we see some other use of blockchain. Many of them are related to economic things like, for example, green money, complementary currency, others, but also there is new industries getting interest on blockchain. For example, government, also in life science, also healthcare. So for the next year, there is something interesting. Blockchain was going to down, also as ACOs, that is initial coin offerings, and also cryptocurrency are at the bottom, but new use for blockchains was increasing on interest. And as you can see here, there is a lot of different industries that want to or consider that blockchain could be a solution for them. And finally, I want to show this one is for 2020, and blockchain doesn't appear on this graphic anymore. What means that blockchains become a fully productive technology and start being used and slowly progressing on adoption. So let's talk about some use case of blockchain. But first, I would like to show you how to determine if a blockchain is a real solution for the problem you are trying to use it. So there is 8 questions that you should do yourself. And first is, why is first it is the need of a database to solve this problem, and why? If there is probably not need of a database to record data, so it is probably not a good use for blockchain. Second, multiple writers. Probably we need more than one writer in a blockchain project to make it interesting. If you have just one writer, probably a decentralized solution is not the best for this approach. The third one is absence of trust. And I think this is the most important, because what blockchain is trying to solve is the problem of trust between people or between entities. So if there is no trust between two parties that are trying to do a transaction, then blockchain could be a really interesting solution. The fourth one is disintermediation. So probably you don't want an institution or something in between the two parties that help to make the transaction happen. Probably you just want 2 actors and some rules that make it possible. The fifth is interesting, is transaction interaction. To explain that, for example, I'm going to give an example. I need to transfer money to someone, for example, to my sister, and my sister we need to transfer this money to someone else, for example, to pay some bills. And we want these 2 transactions to be one after the other. So if this transaction interaction are important for our project, probably blockchain is a good solution for that. The sixth is set the rules. If there is like some rule that need to be fulfilled, then probably you need to use blockchain. The seventh is, in a normal project, like a public blockchain, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, all the computers working on the network validate the transaction. But But for some custom blockchain, like those built with hyperledger, you can choose who will validate your transaction. It depends on the use case. And the last one is to back your asset. Probably if you need some way to back a real off-chain thing, could be a house or could be a car, probably you can find a solution with blockchain. So here we have the full picture of use cases of blockchain. Yeah, probably you can read this, but we will go through some of these examples. Let's talk about supply chain. Probably if you know about how supply chains work, you know that this process could be very exhausting because you need to not just transfer material, as it says here, but also information. There is a lot of paperwork and there is a lot of certificates that you need for validation of these documents, and also capital flow. So all of this can happen easily into a blockchain. And for example, for suppliers, manufacturers, and vendors, they all can interact and make like a real quick and easy solution without any intermediaries. So it will be like a really interesting solution. In the financial sector, there is a lot of benefits, and financial sector is one of the sectors that are working harder on blockchain, implementing and developing a lot of new technologies. For example, JP Morgan also was investing a lot on blockchain and developing new modules and tools that all later they sell, for example, to Hyperledger. So there is like a long list of benefits. This is just few of them. Better security, prevent frauds, and this is important. Blockchain locks every transaction, so there is no way you can fraud. Eliminate single point of failure, faster transaction, reduce costs, and decrease settlement times. Yeah. Also for automobile industries, there is a lot of uses. The part of the vehicle could be supported by blockchain to guarantee that they are original. You can also track the delivery of the car, of the vehicle. Also in the vehicle purchase and service contract, there is uses for blockchain. Also for the vehicle in use, there is an example of Tesla product. They have some sensors. They collect information and process this information. And the idea here is to store this information on the blockchain, just to get sure that this information will maintain transparent and not transformed for anyone. No one could change it. Also for the warranty, and this is interesting. If you are reselling your vehicle and you want to buy a second-hand vehicle and you want to be sure who was the owner before, so blockchain could be a really good solution for that. In digital identity is not something new, but this concept has problem to become live because there is no way to guarantee the privacy of the people. And this is something that is happening right now. For example, we have all of our information in platforms like Google or Facebook, and we don't know, or we don't have any control on what they do with our information. So the idea of digital identity on blockchain is to create the concept of self-sovereign digital identity. People have the power to choose who will see their information or how they will use their information. So it is important because the information is encrypted on the blockchain, and just with the access of the keys, you will use or not the information. In healthcare, there is also a really nice use. The problem on healthcare is there is different databases depending on the medical center that give you attention. So those databases are a lot of split information, separate information. Then if you need some service and you go to another one, you probably don't have the record of your health history. So it is interesting to have like just one place to store the information, and it could be or digital identity wallet. You can have like all the records there, and you can decide if you want to share it or not. Also, something important is to keep the privacy of the person, because for example, you can people can do some statistic with the information, like probably people that have some disease and they need to get the numbers but not the identity of the people. Then you can share just part of your information but not all. So it is quite interesting approach. Also for education, you can keep the digital certificates and degrees into your wallet. So it is interesting because you can travel and your certificates are everywhere with you, and the important is they are verifiable. It is easy because there is a sign, a digital sign of the entity that create this certificate, so it could be easily to validate anywhere. Also on real estate. On real estate, there is nice uses of blockchain. For example, when you are going to buy a house, you need to go to a lot of paperwork, a lot of validation of the information, and there is the possibility to get some fraud. So this is the process in a traditional way, but done with smart contract is really quick because the network provide all the certificates, and this information is transparent and immutable. So those certificates will give you an easy approach to not just to get the information, valid information about what are you going to buy, also to transfer the ownership because it could be a token, and also to pay. So it is like a really nice use case. In cybersecurity, there is also some advantage of using blockchain. The first one is it removes the risk of a single point of failure. And the other, it is also important, is the encryption methods that is working already in the protocols. It will be like interesting because it's already being applied to the data that is being stored. So it will increase the security of your systems. Also in humanitarian aid, it is interesting what is happening right now with the COVID-19 crisis. There is a lot of people creating programs to get some funds and send it to different places. But the interesting here is not just the possibility to get some funds, but also organizations carrying this transaction has to be more discreet in how they are spending the donation. This is really important because everything they do with this money, it will be recorded on the blockchain. So there is some way to get the better use to this money. And in crowdfunding, there is also many use of blockchains. I'm going to share the two more popular is ICO, initial coin offering. This approach is quite it's not being used right now because there was a lot of fraud on this approach, and it gets regulated right now. There is a new approach that is security token offering that is more similar to share stocks. And also in the game industry, gaming have a lot of advantage of using blockchain, and I just want to share with you some of the games there are showing here. For example, Axie is kind of a Pokemon game, but you have these characters and you start like evolving them. So the more skilled they are, the higher the price. So you can also sell these characters. So it is quite interesting project because you can make some money while you are playing. Also, Nightlife Arena, the idea here is to create a hero. So you have just nightlife. If the hero dies, then he just will die forever, and he will move to a hall of fame. But if you keep your hero alive, and the more fights he become winner, it start increasing his level, his skills, also the year. Um, it is interesting because you can do a lot of money if you are like a really good player. And also for trading card, traditional trading card also have a nice place here in blockchain, because as you know, if you have a unique card, there is no way to make cheat on this game. So your card will remains unique, and you probably will have the possibility to sell it after. Decentraland is not just a game; it is kind of a virtual space where you can have like your stuff. You can have a house, for example, or your car. Um, People are use this program, Decentraland, right now, because there is no possibility to create like massive events. So they create it in a virtual way. They start like creating some avatars that reflects their personality. And for example, some conference are made on this. It's not a game, but it's a platform. Also for governance and record management, there is interesting use. I would like to share a video that explains it very well. I hope you enjoy it. It's just 2 minutes.
Before nations, before borders, there was the Pangaea supercontinent. Since then, the world has been divided by tectonic shifts, widening oceans, and stifling politics. Nation-states are crumbling under the weight of local and global challenges that they seem incapable of solving. Rather than embracing a borderless world and increasing personal freedoms, governments and multilateral organizations have overseen a surge in bureaucracy, protectionism, and ever greater intrusions into our personal lives. To prevent a drift towards tyranny, we need drastic change. Pangaea is BitNation's decentralized jurisdiction platform. Using Pangaea, you can build voluntary nations, agree contracts, and resolve disputes with other citizens, and access the services you need. This is our vision of jurisdiction as a service, a global market for governance services. The Pangaea Arbitration Token, or PAT, is an Ethereum-based in-app token that powers the Pangaea platform. When you create a contract, complete a contract, or resolve a dispute on Pangaea, you receive non-tradable reputation tokens through Lucy, our AI bot. Accumulating reputation tokens earns you tradable PAT tokens. This ensures that you can't buy a good reputation or acquire it through popularity, but if you earn one, you will be rewarded. Imagine a world where people can freely choose which voluntary nations and jurisdictions they want to be part of. A world where voluntary nations offer a choice of services under their own laws and policies and compete for citizens in a free market that rewards good governance. You too can be part of the future of governance by joining the Pangaea token sale. Welcome to the Internet of Sovereignty. Welcome to Pangaea.
Okay, this project is really interesting. It doesn't matter where you live. You can choose where you want to be, what government want you be part of. So the idea behind this is people have all the records. If they are like good people, it will be all recorded. You can, for example, have your certificates, have your information all in this same wallet. So it is quite nice. And now I want to show you some code so you will know better how it's a decentralized application. So I'm going to change the mode of this sharing. Second. Here. Okay, hope you are watching my screen. First, I want to show you this repository. It is on the description of this video. In this repository, you can find first the instruction to install and run this project. It's pretty easy. So if you are interested, you can download it and use it. The only important dependency is Truffle. It's an environment, a local environment to create a blockchain and to give you all the tools needed to run a smart contract. Also here, it is important to, if you want to understand the project, to check this document. There is everything explained, so you can have a better idea of how it works, what was the goal of this software. First, that there is a company, and in the other hand, there is some landowners. As you can see in the image here, the idea here is to create drones, a company of drones that spray some pesticides over this land for pest control. So the idea is create a decentralized application where the landowner can request for a service through a smart contract, and the company can accept the job and send the drone to make it. And once the job is done, it makes a payment to the company. It transfers some money from the landowner to the company. Something else I want to share here is the deployment diagram. First, we have a web server. And also here, we have all the information on the blockchain. As you can see here, there is 6 contracts that was made for this project. But also all these contracts here are dependencies from OpenZeppelin. That is like really nice contracts that you can implement to make easier what you are trying to do. So we have here some ERC 7021 standard tokens. It's token for not fungible tokens. It's a standard for not fungible token. Also ERC 20, that is a standard for fungible tokens. That is, for example, coins or tokens. Also, we have here a contract is Fumicoin, is the coin used for pay the services. Also, the drone and the parcellas both are inheriting the code from the not fungible token standard. And there is some contract for the company owner and the landowner. Also, you can see here there is everything explained, the interaction with this software. Also, some information about the suite. And there is all the instruction if you want to see how to work with this project. But let me show you. First, I use this command Truffle Develop to start the blockchain. It gives me 10 accounts with public and private key. Also, each account has 100 Ethereum, but this is fake Ethereum. It is just working on my local, so it has no value. And now I need to deploy all the contracts. So this is the command migrate, and it starts the migration. For example, here this contract Fumigadron has a transaction hash. It has the blocks, the address of the contract, all the information. For example, the balance of Ethereum and the gas use. That is the amount of Ethereum use. It was like a small amount. So here also I will run the web server with the front end of the application. And once we get into the application, the first thing is to connect to the network. As you can see, there is an endpoint here provided by the blockchain. And each tab represent a different page. It is done this way because we want to simplify for the use on the testing. But the idea is each page, each tab represent a totally different page, so it will be separate in a real example. So this is for the company. The company has zero tokens, and here we are going to create some drones. So the first drone will have these specifications. Also for the proprietary ones, okay, here in the log, you can see the information about the transaction. And once I click on the landowner tab, automatically it will create a new user with this address, and there is the transaction of the hash of the transaction. Also, we are going to edit the name. And this user have 100 tokens. So I'm going to create a LAN. The name is not important. And these specifications to be something compatible with the drone we just created. And we are going to request a job. So we choose what drones is what we want to pay, because it depends also on the cost. And for the company, there is some pending jobs, and he just it could be automatically, but we did it this way. He just chose to do the job, and once the job is done, it receives the 50 tokens. These 50 tokens was transferred from the account of the landowner. So this is the way it works. Now I would like to show you the code, how it's built. First, this is the folder structure of this project. And for example, this is the configuration for Truffle. I have here all the networks I will use for this project. For example, we just use develop, but we can use, for example, some production or testing networks. So this is the way to set all this. Here in this folder, there is the contracts. There is a base contract, for example, and this one are the dependencies. And to give you, probably you don't read very well this, but this is not important. Just want to give you like a quick example of how some contracts are built. It looks pretty similar to JavaScript, but this is Solidity language. Here there is an application. This application is also made with Node, and there is just the other files are not important. It is the only two important is just a simple HTML and also a JavaScript file. JavaScript file import Web3, that is a dependency to interact with the blockchain, and also some other JSON to get the information from the contracts. And yes, it is pretty easy to use. It's just simple JavaScript. But if you want to have a better idea of the interactions of the transactions, you probably will want to check the test. The tests are like really easy. They just have some instance of the contracts and start sending. First, it needs to be deployed. But once it is deployed, all the users are listed here. It starts calling the different functionality on the smart contracts. So it's pretty easy to use. If you want to run this test, it is also easy. You just need to go to the Truffle console and send the command test. And it will check that everything is okay. So This is the example right now. I just want to share with you some conclusions about this presentation. Blockchain is a new paradigm for connecting business and people in a shared and open environment using peer-to-peer technology. It is the next stage in the evolution of Internet, the Web 3.0. This is important because there is a lot of people saying right now that blockchain is the biggest disruption after Internet. And if you remember how was the life before Internet and you see today how the life changed, you can have an idea of how it will change once blockchain get completely adopted. Final conclusion is blockchain is way lot deeper and wider than just cryptocurrencies. Okay, thank you guys for your attention, and I am open to answer any question.
Well, guys, I don't know if you can see me now, but great presentation, Jesus. Congratulations to you. So yeah, as you mentioned, it was exactly the same the way we interact with each other before social media. And you know, we didn't have those spaces to talk with a lot of audience that we had now with the use of YouTube or this kind of tool for social media. So we got two amazing questions. We are running out of time, so I think the answer should be really short. So Andrea Mena is asking us, he's telling you awesome presentation. So could you please elaborate more on how transactions work in blockchain to guarantee that ledgers remain trustworthy? If someone maliciously modify one of the blocks in the chain, so can you elaborate a little more on this?
Yes, I'm going to be pretty quick. As you know, there is hashes that is protecting the block, the information into the block. If someone changes just one bit of the content of these blocks, the hash will completely change. So if a hash change, this block is invalid. So this is the way it protects the information. I hope it is clear.
Okay, we hope so, Andrea. I hope that is clear enough for you. The other question we got here is, what is the main advantage of using a blockchain behind the drones, like the project you show in your presentation? Well, he is giving more information. Is there a way to secure that a project like that won't be used with toxic waste, chemical weapons? Could we track if it was used for something like that? So
nice, really nice question. There is a way. First, products can be tracked also in the creation. So if you can track that a product is valid and you can upload to this information to a blockchain, you can just use products that are already validated, like from the origin, from the producer. So the consumer of the service, I mean the landowner on this project, will just choose drones that implement the exact pesticides that implement these certifications. So yes, there is a way to implement that.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that it's a good answer for Tiago. And yeah, Adrian mentioned that it's a clear and simple answer. So thank you very much, Jesus. Thank you very much for sharing with us this amazing information about blockchain. And if you want more content about computers, about what we are, about technologies, you can take a look in our channel. So we got a lot of, and yeah, I think we got another question. Thank you for letting me know that. Where are saved transaction history if there isn't a database? That's the question that Hula is asking.
Okay, where's the transaction if it isn't in a database? Is the question.
Yeah, exactly. If we don't have a database, where is saved that information?
Okay, the concept in blockchain is more distributed ledger. So think that all the nodes, all the different nodes has a complete copy of the ledger. So when a new transaction comes to the blockchain, all the nodes at the same time, they have to process this transaction, and all of them have to they have to make the same result. That is the hash of the last block. So if they have all of them, if they have the same result, it means that there is a consensus between all the network. So this block is valid and it will be attached to the ledger. I hope it is clear.
Okay, let me check if we got another question here. Thank you guys
Okay.
for participating on this. I think Remo mentioned that the blockchain is the database. The transaction is what is hash. So it's that's the last comment we had here. So I don't know if you agree with that or if you want to elaborate more on that.
Okay, I want to just to clarify. Blockchain is more like protocols. You know, like TCP/IP is a protocol. So blockchain could be a protocol. Okay, there is many protocols made on blockchain. Blockchain is more like a concept, but the database, we can think about it as a layer, a distributed layer. And the transactions are the way we call the functions programmed on smart contracts, or also the transactions are when we are sending money from one account to another. That is more the approach of blockchain, or other blockchains just focus on transactions like money transactions. But also when you carry a functionality, a feature of a smart contract, it is also a transaction.
Right, and finally, it's like the whole database in the hash, right? That's what.
Yes. I mean, each block has a hash, but this hash, it includes the hash of the blocks created before. So yeah, the last block has the hash of all the information. That's true.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. We got so much questions and we got excited. Thank you very much again, Jesus, for giving us this amazing presentation. And again, if you had not subscribed so far, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our channel. Next month, we are going to be here again with another Launch and Learn. And thank you very much for joining us today. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.